Okay, ready? Oh, you all right there, parents? Okay, so the chaza from yesterday, which yesterday was tonight's also a very complicated daf. Yuri, you didn't post no pictures?
Yes,
He
we
did.
just said.
He did. We got 10
just did?
pictures.
We
I
just
didn't
We
said.
got a lot of
today.
pictures.
I was gonna, I could have used them today. I was almost gonna put out there like, oh, let's see.
I don't think all that went through. Hold on. I think there's more. Hold on.
Okay, whatever. We'll get to them. So anyway, so yesterday's daf was all the measurements. I had to have the measurements of a. Basically, it was a big machloik, not a machloik. Well, 4-way machloikis. How to measure a saw and the differences of saw measurements between the midbar and Mitzrayim, not Mitzrayim, the midbar, Yerushalayim, and Tzipori. And yeah, so that was basically most of the time. And then on Amud we're talking about if you have an upstairs and a downstairs, so that you make an eruv, and the upstairs and downstairs didn't make an eruv to each other. So who gets priority over which chutzner? Which is what we're going to continue tonight. So already, we're already like 10 lines down from the top on Pei Dalet Amud Aleph. Yeah, Tanan Chulias Habar. Yeah, we're good with that. Yeah, so Tanan Chulias Habar. So again, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. So basically, what the Mishnah had said was that you have an upstairs and a downstairs, and you have houses or apartments on the upstairs, and you got houses and apartments in the chutzner and the downstairs, and then there's a ladder that you could access the upstairs from the downstairs. Now they each one made their own individual eruv. They didn't make an eruv connecting each other. So the Mishnah says that if there's a pillar in the yard, so if it's higher than 10 tefachim, and it's within 4 tefachim of the upstairs of the mirpeset, then it goes to the mirpeses, right? If it's lower than 10 tefachim, or if it's further away, then it doesn't go to mirpeses. Then the Gemara went through all a bunch of cases of different accesses, and then the Gemara's shaila was is machloikis Rav and Shmuel. If you have one yard, there's a wall in between 2 yards. Let's say one could be accessed from lowering it, meaning you have to lower your. So there's 1 yard up here, like we said, Harnof, right? 1 yard is up here, 1 yard is down here. So and then there's the wall. So now the upper yard, the upper chutzner can access it by lowering things down. The lower chutzner can only access it by going up. So Rav had said they're both usher because they didn't make an error with each other. And Shmuel had said no, you go with whichever one can access that wall easier, right? So and the lowering is obviously easier than throwing something on top of the wall. That's the background. So the Gemara is continuing to try and prove or disprove Shmuel, Rav and Shmuel. So Tanan, yeah, 10 lines down, 10, 12 lines down, Tanan. Chulias Habar, V'Hasela. So if you have, you dig out a bar and you pile it up so that it makes it 10 tefachim high, right? Or a cell or a rock, Shehin Gavayim Asara, that they're 10 tefachim high, the merpeses, within the merpeses. So pachas mikan, then it goes to the merpeses, meaning using the top of that pillar is the merpeses. Pachas mikan lechatza, but if it's the pillar's less than 10, it goes to the chatza. Yeah, so what do you see from that? What do we see from this Gemara? That this is a kasha on Rav, because you see clearly that they're not both usher. According to Rav, they should both be usher. Again, the lower yard can only access it by throwing it, and the upper yard can only access it by lowering it, right? So according to Rav, they should both be usher. Shmuel says no, that it goes to the upper one, right? At least if it's higher than 10. So it makes this Mishnah makes more sense according to Shmuel. So no, it's talking about those people that are living in the merpeses. That's who it goes to. It doesn't go to. They have the people on the merpeses obviously have much closer access to that pillar, so therefore it's good. So, but the Gemara asks, Tinach Sela, that's all good for the rock. So a rock is above 10 tefachim. Bar, ma'ikal, but a bar, right? We said the bar and the chulias, right? So you're combining the wall of the bar. Let's say the bar, we said 5 tefachim deep, and then the dirt piles up around the bar. 5 tefachim. So that makes it 10 tefachim. So that's the bottom of the bar, right? So bar ma'ikal meimer, how is that going to be within 10 tefachim? So Rav Yitzchak, brother Rav Yehuda, hachav bar malei mayim askina. No, we're talking about a bar that's full of water, which we're going to be discussing in a couple of days, as Hashem, how it works with the water. But we're talking about how to make Eruvin with water. But we're talking about a bar that was full of water. So therefore, we don't measure to the bottom of the bar. We're measuring from the water level. Oh, the Gemara asks v'hachasra. Well, what happens to a bar of water? Right? It loses. Yeah. So kiven the chimal yasharya ki chasra nam yasharya. So the Gemara answers no. Since when it's full, it's going to be mutter to use it for the eruv. So ki chasra nam yasharya. So when it's low, less, then it's also going to be mutter. So the Gemara says adarabba kiven the chasra asira. If you're going to be missing water from the bar, then you're not going to be able to access it. Kimal yanami yasiru. So we should say it's asur even if it's full. Meaning, why are you saying that we're going to be matter it when the bar is full of water, right? Because then it's within 10 tefachim, let's say, of the merpeses. Yeah. But when it gets empty, it's not going to work. That l'char does not sound like the rabbanon. The rabbanon, the minute would be the other way around. That if we're going to asur it when it's full because it might become empty, right? So Elam Rabbi bar malaya peiras is going to know we're talking about a bar that's full of fruit. So since it's full of fruit doesn't evaporate. Fruit's just going to sit there. Then the Gemara says, "What do you mean, v'hachasrei?" But people are going to come take fruits, and then the fruit is going to go. The hole in this bar is going to get lower. So we say, "Betevla." It's talking about where it's tevel. Since it's tevel, nobody ever took off chumas and meisers. So they take it. It's muksa on Shabbos, right? Food that was not. You're not allowed to take off chumas and meisers on Shabbos, correct? So right, because that's being masak in the food. So this fruit that's in the bar is teva, and therefore it's muksa. So nobody's ever going to take it out on Shabbos. So therefore it's not a problem. Take anami, the ktani dumi the sella. We said similar to a sella, right? Shmami no, meaning a sella is muksa. So too, a bar of fruit is also muksa.
And I guess you could use the sella. I mean, you could use this bar for something, even though it has stuff that's tevel and smukta.
No, we're talking about using the bar. You could put stuff down on top of the fruit.
Even if it moves it.
You think it'll move the fruit? You think so? If it does move the fruit, you're right. I hear what you say. Basically, what Akiva is saying is that if it's muksa, so what are you doing with it? Oh, very good. So l'chayre, what it means is you're putting something down on top of the rock, or you're putting it down on top of the fruit. And if it does move, it's einem eschaven, and you don't want it. You don't want it.
It's einem eschaven if you put something and it's gonna move. It's still
because you don't want it to move.
Okay, so I'll say psik ratio.
Psik ratio to lo nichole, so it doesn't matter.
Well, it's not a psik ray. I'm saying it's
Why
not.
If you know it's gonna move, it's a psik ratio to lo nichole.
It's gonna move.
Right. So you don't know for sure it's gonna move, and if it does move, you don't care for it to move, right?
Either way, so either way, you're okay.
Yeah. How about sitting on a car? Very good. It's good. Akiva, it's good you brought this up. How about sitting on a car on Shabbos? Not in a car, on a car.
It's fine.
Let's say the car is muksa, l'chayr it is.
L'chayr it is. Okay.
And then when you sit on a car, maybe, I don't know about you guys, but when I sit on a car, that car moves a little bit. Okay? Right? So.
Is that the normal way it moves?
It shakes. It doesn't move. It doesn't actually move. It just shakes.
It shakes, but that's moving, muksa. That's moving.
Why is it different than a tree?
Tree, you could break a branch off.
A tree, they made a gezerah that you can't lean on a tree.
Right. Why?
Because they're afraid you're gonna break off a branch.
Yeah, but with a car, if you have an alarm with a gyro on it, you're gonna set it off.
That's true.
Now assuming the sensors and everything.
Assuming that you don't have a car with that, assuming your car doesn't have that sensor, Jesse, your car is just wired to call Sherman right away, so it doesn't have to actually ring.
Or a window, or something.
Why is Uri wrong?
Or some cars without windows.
No.
Why is Uri wrong?
He's right. I think he's right. The moving is minatzad. I mean, it's not the derech to move it.
Yeah.
It's not considered moving.
Even if it is,
that's a different time. That's not considered moving. With the
at the very least, it's tiltum outside, but it's fine. You can sit. You can sit on it. It's not. I don't know why you would want to, but I'm saying you could.
Why would you want to sit on a car?
saying. It's dirty. It's not,
I don't know. During Yisko, in the old days when I was zeicher to go out of shul from Yisko, what'd you do? You look for the best spot on the car to lean on for those 5 minutes. No?
If you want to tie your shoe and you want to lean on a car, so I'm asking, you know what I mean?
No, but you don't want it to move. You don't care for it to move. First of all, so there's many, many reasons.
That's why them don't have laces, so they shouldn't lean on cars.
Watch out for him. He's got a hard ball in his hand, and if you say something wrong, it's going right through the screen. What do you call it? Yeah, so meaning the first thing is that it's moving with a shinu l'chayra, and even if it is moving, you're not interested in it moving, right? That's what I would say would be the thing with the fruit. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, weiter.
What's the maskana with a car? Yes or no?
Yes, you could sit on a car on Shabbos. Yes. Yeah, 100%. Okay, so Shema, yes. Okay, so then what it says, why do you need 2 cases in the Mishnah? One of the bar, meaning again, it's not the bar exclusive, it's the bar with the dirt from the bar piled up against it. Not against it, around it. And why do you need a case of rocks? By Sela, there's no reason to make a gzeira. There's no gezeiras to be made. So maybe you can just, use the top of the rock of a bar ligzar. But a bar, you can make a gzeira zimna demalia peres misukanin. That maybe what happens if one Shabbos you end up filling the bar with fruit that's not muksa, right? You fill it up with fruits or vegetables that Chumas and Mises was taken off of, and maybe you're going to end up emptying that bar of all the fruit, and then you're going to have a problem that you're not able to access it, so because there's no eruv between the upper porch and the lower porch. That's why you need both cases. Fine. Okay. So now we say another raya for the machlokes Rav and Shmuel. Toshma anshe chatzar anshe aliyah. So you have the people in the chatzar and the low, meaning the lower yard, and the people in the upper yard. They forgot and they didn't make an eruv. So anshe chatzar mishtamshim basara tachtainim. So the people from the chatzar can use, right, the wall, the lower 10 tefachim of the wall, and the ones that are in the upper part can use the upper 10 tefachim of the wall. Now, you can't use a wall, right? A flat wall, a straight wall. Yeah, how do you use that? Again, we're talking about, like in Harnov, you have the yard here, and a wall right here, right? And they forgot to make an error with each other. So we're saying that this is a big wall. So the upper guys can use 10 tefachim going down, and the bottom guys can use the 10 tefachim going up, and because that's part of their chatzeres. But in between there, you can't use. But how do you use it? How do you use a wall?
Aren't they sharing that 10th tefach? Meaning if it's 20 tefachim. If it's 20 tefachim. Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna see. We're gonna see weiter with that also. So Ketzad. So how do you use a wall? Ziz. Yaitza minakoisel. If you have a what do you call a ziz again? A ledge, right? Sticking out of the wall. So lamata me'asara lechotzer. If the thing sticking out of the wall is below 10, then that goes to the yard. Lamala me'asara la'aliyah. If it's above 10, then it goes that ziz, that ledge sticking out, then it goes to the upper one. Yeah. So what do you see from this? Beini Aser, but what's in between the 2 10 tfachims, it's going to be Aser, right? So why should it be Aser? Because they didn't make an error with each other. Who is that like? That's like Rav, right? Rav said if you have two chatz.
Lost for a minute.
Right?
Yeah, you blanked out for 20 seconds.
I did.
What the Baini said was the halachas like Rav.
Halacha is.
You said who's that like? You said it's like Rav.
Oh, okay. So I'll just back up to this. So who do we? It says if the wall's higher than 10, 20 tefachim, so we're saying that the upper level gets the 10 tefachim below it, and the bottom level gets a 10 tefachim up from the ground. But the middle, let's say it's a 30 tefachim wall, the middle 10 tefachim nobody can have. Why? Because they didn't make an error with each other. That's like Rav. Because Shmuel would say, no, the person, the chutzner that has easier access would be the one to get it. So Rav Nachman hacha b'kaisel tisha asar askina. Now we're not talking about a 30 tefachim wall as an example. We're talking about a wall that has 19 tefachim. V'ziz yaitz mimeno, and there's a ledge coming out from it. Lamata me'asara lezeh v'pesach v'lezeh b'shilshel. Right. So we're talking about if what's that? V'ziz yaitz mimeno. There's a ziz. And now where is this ledge? Lamata me'asara. If the ledge is below 10, right? So then lezeh b'pesach. And so for this one, it's a doorway, and the other one can only access that ledge from lowering it down, right? Because it's under 10 tefachim, right? So the chutzner, again, if it's below 10 tefachim, so the chutzner, we call it a pesach, meaning the chutzner has easy access to it because it's below 10 tefachim, and the upper one does not because it's shilshel has to lower it down to below 10. That's if the ledge is below 10. And then what if the ledge is above 10? Lamala me'asara, then lezeh pesach v'lezeh zricha. So then for this one, it's for the top one, it's considered a pesach, an opening, and to the bottom one, the only way to get to it is zrika. Right? So then one second. So now
Is the Gemara trying to explain according to Shmuel? The Gemara is doing according to Shmuel.
The Gemara now is trying to defend Shmuel.
How is the terrace to Shmuel? What does the Gemara mean that it's gonna? Is the Gemara saying that both of them have access to it?
They both have access. It's 19. No, that's the Shaila. We're trying to explain it to Shmuel, right? According to Shmuel, Shmuel says you go with the one that's easier to be accessed, right? So we're saying it's only 19, right? And then it depends where you're putting this ledge. If the ledge is below 10, then l'chara should go to the chutzner. And if it's above 10, then it goes to the merpeses, right? And that would be like Shmuel. Right? Then it would fit according to Shmuel.
What does the Gemara mean? Lamata me'asar lezeh pesach v'lezeh shilshel. If it's according to Shmuel, if it's b'shilshel, it's then he gets it. No,
the bottom one will get it. Whoever is lezeh pesach is going to be the one to get it, because for them it's a pesach, it's an opening, meaning it's actually accessible. The other one for the other one it's not so accessible.
It's only when it's lezeh zrika v'lezeh shilshel.
Correct. So right, according to Shmuel, we're always going to take the easy way out, right? So meaning there's never a no man's land here. If there was a no man's land and the wall was 30 tefachim, and then you have a middle 10 tefachim that was inaccessible to both of them according to the halacha, then that's a kasha on Shmuel. But now we're saying no, there's no man's land. It's to 19 tefachim. So wherever that ledge is, it's going to allow one to use it and the other one not to. If it's below 10, then the chutz is going to be able to use it, and the upper level is not going to be able to use it. If it's above 10, then the upper level could use it and the lower level can't use it. It's confusing. This is probably for me. This is I think the hardest stuff in the Masechta so far. It's 2 nights in a row of this. One last night, one tonight. Yeah. All right, but we made it this far in Eruvin. I don't think we should give up at this point. Gets much easier. Maybe tomorrow's a little harder. After that, it gets easier. Toshima. Yeah, so now another case. Now, if you think those cases were hard, this case is, maybe I shouldn't say it so the island doesn't. This one, you really need those charts, okay? Toshima, shtei gezus trois. I'm going to try and pull it up over here. Which one is there? I don't know which. Two, if you have two gezus trois, right? These pictures don't mark where they are. Yeah, I think this one, if anybody has this case is this one now. If anybody has it on their, whatever, I'll hold it up anyways. Toshima, shtei gezus trois. If you have 2 porches, zu lamala mizu, one is above the other one, right? And Rashi says that it's not, so one is above the other one, but it sounds like if you just read the Gemara, that it's one directly on top of the other. That's not the case. The case is in this, like this picture. One is above the other one, and they're also to the side of each other. So you have shtei gezus trois, zu lamala mizu, one above the other one. Also lil yaina, if they made a mechitza for the top one, and they didn't make a mechitza for the bottom one. You see, we had this a couple times before, and we're going to have it again. in order to take water, see, there's water on the bottom there. If you're on a porch and I guess this is like in Venice or something, right? So you're living right above the water. You want to be able to pull up some water. So, and there's no Eruv. How do you get the Eruv to the water? So there's a special cooler by water, which we had a couple times. All you have to do is build a mechitza that's 10 tefachim, and then you say good aches, right? And it drops it down, right? See that tube thing? I think it's a tube. On there, it's a tube. No, it's a square. Okay, that square's got to be 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim. That acts as an eruv, and then you'd be able to take a bucket and pull it up through there. Oh, we know. This is what we had this before. We know that a mechitza that's more than 3 tefachim off the ground, a goat can go under it, so it doesn't work, right?
Where's the mechitza?
This box. Can you see it? You see that box?
Yeah.
That box is the eruv. As long as you put the bucket through that box, then you're allowed to pull up the bucket from the water through there. That's your eruv.
How could a goat go on the water above between that and the water? It's water.
No, so that's what we said. Even though normally a mechitza has to go down to within 3 tefachim of the ground, otherwise a goat can go under it. But by water, they made a special cooler, right? I think we had at least twice in Eruvin that by water they made a special cooler. So this is the special cooler. This mission is coming up. These cases are coming up later on, right? So the problem is that what?
This box makes a mechitza?
Yeah, that box is hollow. That box is hollow, right?
Don't they need a fence around that?
No, that is the fence.
No. After the door, don't they need a fence around that?
No, that's a Rosh Hashanah because that's above.
For Micah purpose.
Oh, for Micah purpose, I don't know. I hear. I'm gonna have a hard enough time with Eruvin. I'm gonna leave Micah.
That's not the topic on hand.
No, I understand. I'm just pointing it out that there's a problem with the drawing. Maybe
it's not big enough. Maybe it's not big enough for Micah.
So how are you getting the water?
What?
How are you getting the water?
You park a small car on top of it, then you don't need a micro.
No, I guess
there you go.
Maybe you could stick your hand out the window. Maybe that's why you put like a door.
The bucket has a hole in
that box. So that box is the mechitza. That box is the mechitza.
Right? It's a hole.
What?
There's a hole.
There's a hole, right? There's a hole in that box, and that box is the mechitza, right? So again, back in the
maybe this whoever drew the picture holds that is the reason for makeh. And since it's a mitzvah to teach your kids how to swim, there's no chiyuv makeh.
I hear that's alumnus. That's alumnus right there. I hear.
Yeah, but now you don't teach them how to swim on Shabbos. Gosh.
Listen, you get those swimmer guys.
How to swim. Anyone who falls off must know how to swim because they have to know.
I hear. Very good. Yeah. Okay, but anyways, so what's the case? Again, let's read the Gemara again. Toshima, right? The top line here on number base. Toshima, shtei gezutroi, zulamalam is one's above the other, but again, not directly above, like it is in the picture. Asul el yaina v'loy asul tachtayna. If they made this mechitza thing to pull up the water for the upper one and not for the lower one, which is exactly in that picture, right? Dynamo has that picture. Should I hold it up again, or we're all good? I think everybody has, yeah. And they didn't make this for the bottom one. Shtei and asuras, they're both asur, right? Neither porch is allowed to pull up water through that box because they never made an eruv with each other. Ad sheyarvu, until they make an eruv, right? Now the top porch, how are they getting the water? By shilshul, by lowering it down. And how's the bottom one getting it? By throwing it, because it has to go up. Yeah? And we still say it's asur, meaning, according to Shmuel, if you're going down is easier, so at least the upper one should be able to pull up water. The lower one can't, but the upper one should be able to. Yet the Brisa says that both of them can't. So it must be a raya to Rav and not to Shmuel.
Why is the Gemara assuming that the lower one should answer the upper one? Why does he have any rishus over that upper one at this point in the Gemara? Why does he have any din to the upper one? The upper one's by himself.
No, because they're part of the same chutzner. That's what I think.
They're over the water. What type of chutzner is that? It's a Carmelist.
Especially if it doesn't need a mica, right?
We're talking about like Venice type situations. Where they're over water here? How's there any?
I understand, but Lamaisa, they must.
It has to be a Carmelist because you have to resort to that special box.
Right. So
what? Why are we looking at them? Why are we looking at them as if they're in the same chutzner that they'd ask for each other? Let the upper one be by himself, and the lower one can't answer him. Let's say even according to Rav that there's a sort of a tug of war and they both could answer each other. Why does he have any shaykhs to the upper one's ability to lower or not to lower? He has nothing to do with the upper one. It's a separate shows.
So Rashi, right? So Rashi really asks your kasha. So Rashi in Rashi.
But that's how he's getting his water. The picture is the lower guy is getting his water through the upper guy's mechitza.
Why? It's not your rishos. Have a nice day.
I didn't draw the picture. That's what it's showing you. That's what's happening.
Right, but who is he to go ahead and answer me?
You're right. I hear what you're saying. So Rashi says kagoin sha'asu oisa mechitza b'shutfis. They made the mechitza.
So they made the mechitza.
For whatever reason, they both participated in making this box. It was like they made the box together.
They don't have Eruvin together? That's not considered an Eruvin together?
They forgot to do the last
But they made
part.
it so he has a din to it even though he does no Eruv to it? I don't really understand.
Yes, I could see myself doing this. A whole Friday, I'm busy with my box. Yeah, building the box. We're going to make it geschmack. We'll both be able to use it. And then it comes Friday night. We forgot to give each other some bread. Right? So now we're done. I mean, the whole avodah was, that's why I understand Rashi. They built that mechitza together, b'shutvis, and then they forgot to make the Eruv. They forgot to do the main part of the deal. You don't like that, Akiva? I don't know. That's the way Rashi seems to be saying it.
Like Noach building the teva but not going in.
It's interesting that he gets a din rishos for helping him. Like that normally when somebody builds something for you, you have a din to it.
I don't know. It seems like they did it.
It's interesting rishos. No, even if you build somebody.
How is he lifting the bucket?
Who? Which guy? The guy on the right?
How is he lifting the bucket? The top guy.
The top guy pulls it up, I guess.
He pulls it straight up onto his balcony.
He pulls it up to the
balcony. The bottom balcony is. Look at the picture. The bottom balcony.
Well, that's the terrace.
The bottom balcony is separate. At this point in the Gemara assumes they're separate. They're not connected at all. And the bottom balcony he has to throw it from his balcony through that hole, and then lift it up through that hole in the top one, and then pull it back to him on the. It's the craziest thing in the world to get.
It is. These guys got to be a real in shape, man. Let me tell you.
I mean, this guy must be an Olympic thrower to be able to throw like that.
He's basically the guy on the lower balcony has to take. It's really the terrace, right?
No, but in the kasha, the Gemara is assuming you're throwing it from the lower balcony up into the upper balcony through that hole. Right. And then you're able to somehow lift it and pull it back to your balcony.
And no water falls out.
Without the bucket turning over either.
Right, and no water falls out.
Correct.
And without hitting the other guy's bucket. Right? So like this is like it's like a magic bucket.
No, it must be like those. You must be an expert in in the ring tour, whatever those things they do at the carnivals. All those scams.
Yes. In both, and he also knew
this was Shabbos. This is Shabbos Chalamoid. They're getting ready for Sunday to go to the carnival. Shabbos Chalamoid.
I don't know. I usually sit on my couch on Shabbos.
And that means it's hachana, so they can't even do this because it's hachana.
Yeah, no, I'm saying maybe it was like this is like a pirche activity growing up or something.
How do you read it inside? Read it inside.
Which part? Well, they're both asur until they make an eruv. That's not the hard part. That's the kasha, right? So Amar Rav Ada Barava, that's what you wanted. That's what we're up to, yeah. So Rav Ada says no. B'boyin b'nei tachtoina derech el yoina lamalas. We're talking about where the bottom guy, right, goes to the top guy to pull the water up, right? Meaning how? Because they also lower it. Yeah, meaning they're both getting to the water by lowering. Meaning I guess he walks around. Instead of in the Havamina we thought, like Akiva said, you're throwing the string, the bucket, from the lower gezutra, from the lower porch to the upper porch, and then it drops down through the hole. And now it seems like no, what the guy's doing, he's going out and he's stepping onto the porch, and then he's lowering it that way. So there's no upper action whatsoever. Right? We were thinking that one has to throw something up and one has to put it down. And I was saying, no, they both put it down because it's somewhere where they actually go.
But
where
Yaakov,
they
it's not
actually
a
go.
big deal. They're 2 feet apart. He's throwing an empty washing cup. What's the big spritz? He has it. It's not a big deal.
I know, but it's still a bigger tircha to throw it up. You have to have more talent to go up and down. Here, this is here it is. It's this one. This is the teretz. From thank you, Yuri, for posting all this.
Those
is the
pictures are
teretz.
very much not proportionate. Guy's very.
Yes,
I don't know how the guy got outside.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this from 2 different websites or something? Because this guy's picture is totally different from the other picture, but who cares? I mean, it explains it. See here, the guy actually gets a ladder, goes up to the upper porch, and then he lowers it down, and then he's going to walk back to his porch.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Why would there be a shiloh to begin with if he had a ladder?
No, because they didn't made an Eruv with each other.
But he has a ladder. It's the same chutzner now, isn't it?
No, it's still, but they didn't actually. I mean, because they have the ladder that they can access
the
it.
ladder makes it accessible. That it's the
No,
same.
no, it's not kavua. It's not kavua.
So that's the next Gemara.
That ladder looks pretty kavua. I don't know how you're getting it in and
I
out
don't
of
know.
that
Personally,
window.
I wasn't so sure about the ladder part. I hear you, Hara. I wasn't so sure about the ladder. I thought maybe they go inside the apartment, come around, and fill it up that way, and then bring the bucket. Isn't that the normal way to do it, anyways? Saying if me and you are going to make a shutfis.
I think there's nothing normal about this situation.
Okay, I guess so. But that's what I would say. Go in this upstairs apartment, knock on his door, go into his apartment, go to his porch, take the water, and go back down the inside to back to your apartment. Right? Okay, whatever it is. But that's the Havamina was where is it? The Havamina was this is the way it's going to go. The lower guy's got to throw up the bucket into that hole and then down. Right, so in Mela, this guy has a much harder time accessing the water than this guy. This guy just has to drop the bucket through. This guy's got to actually throw it up and down, and yet we still say they both can't fill it up, and that would be a kash on Shmuel. And then we go with the teretz. Where is it? Which way is the teretz? I don't even know. Nope, whatever. We say no. It's talking about I don't know, the other way. Yeah,
you go the other way towards the beginning.
Yeah, so then where he actually physically went up and then dropped it from the bottom. So they're both equal with their access to the water, and then since they didn't make an Eruv, so it's no good. Okay, yeah, we're good. Fine, or as good as could be. Fine. Abaya Omar, Kagoin the Kaimin B'Soich Asara Dahadodi. Okay, here we go. Now this is talking about where the both porches were within 10 tefachim of each other. And since there's no clear differentiation between them, right? So therefore, it's this one, right? Yeah. That's this picture. Right? So they're within 10 of each other. So therefore there's no way to easily see which one can access the water easier. And it's a laimi boy. Laimi boy also l'tachtaina v'loy also l'elyaina. I don't need to tell you the case where they made that box for the bottom one and not for the top one. The asiri that they're going to be also that you can't go on the lower one. To keep in the begav or to keep in the begoya asara the hadadi kaimen asran hadadi, since they're within 10 of each other. Right, so then of course they're gonna make each one asa. Elafilu asul el yaina, but even if they make the square opening for the top porch, and they didn't make v'tachtaina. I would have thought given the lezebe nachas v'lezebe kasha, since obviously it's easy for the top one and it's much harder for the lower one because it's got to go up and down. Right. Yeah, he's got to go up and then down, like we said before. So we should give it to the one that has easier access. No, since they're all within 10 of each other, everything is also. Meaning, so Abai is saying that there's a new chiddush over here, is that it's all within 10. So since it's all within 10, it becomes one big cholent. And even though some have an easier access to the water and some don't, still we're gonna answer everything, right? That's again, that's this picture. I don't know. There should be a better. I think there would be a better picture than that. Okay. Yeah, fine. Okay. That's so kihos. And then we say kihod Omer Rav Nachman Omer Shmuel. It's similar case to what Rav Nachman said in the name of Shmuel. Gag hasamach l'rishus harabim. If you have a roof that's close to Rishus Harabim and tzarich sulam kavua la'tira, you need a ladder, a strong, not a, how do you say it? Not a strong, permanent ladder, right? To be materit. Sulam kavua, so when it says sulam kavua in sulam arayla, only if you have a permanent steps to get up there, it works, but a temporary one not. My timer, what's the reason? Is it not because since they're both within 10 to each other, therefore they aser on each other, meaning anytime you have any of these porches or upstairs, downstairs, anything within 10, and there's no eruv, so therefore it's going to be aser, right? It's this picture, right? Sulam kavua aliyah, right? No, it's this picture. This is the one that it's talking about, right? There's a sulam kavua, right? So fine. So anyway, so that's a proof. So then maskav the Rapapa had a kasha, the Dilma kisharam makasman alav bekumsa v'sudra. Maybe, and it's interesting because the Gemara ends off with this kasha. Maybe it's talking about where a lot of people are using this roof for kumsa v'sudra, to put their hats and their and a sudr. What's a sudr? Is what do you call it?
Scarf.
Scarf, right? Thank you. Yeah. So maybe meaning the reason why it's what do you call it? It's one big shared chutzner is because for whatever reason people would put their, I don't know why they would put their hats and their scarves on this roof or whatever it is, right? Meaning, I guess it's so easily accessible, so therefore it's considered like both of theirs, and therefore they put all their junk down, right? And therefore, I guess it's like something near a yeshiva where wherever there's any, right? That's why yeshivas always make any. There's no flat surfaces in yeshivas if they want to look them neat, because anything flat, everybody uses it for storage. So I guess that's the same thing over here. So maybe that was the case, and maybe that's why you would not be able to carry there unless you made an error with each other, because everybody would be accessing it. So in Mela, we don't have a raya not to Rav and not to Shmuel from any of the brises. Okay, we can stop here. At least it's a quick daf of the, but okay. I hope we did some sort of explanation.
They're confusing me with the picture. The picture. Sometimes the guys are wearing long. Sometimes they're wearing just vests. Sometimes just white shirts. Sometimes jackets. Very confusing.
Why do we bend over backwards to make these guys make an eruv? If they didn't make an eruv, they didn't make an eruv. Other mitzvahs, we bend over backward to give you a second chance and a third chance.
I hear. That's a good point. I'm thinking with the water that they have to get water on Shabbos. No, is that the pshat?
But they forgot. You know you got to make an eruv. If you forgot, what are you gonna do? So sit on the couch like everybody else and relax.
Right. I hear.
Let's see you say that next week when you forget water with an early Shabbos.
That's true.
All right.
Who's that? Tati Hertzberg.
Good night.
Who was that? How are you?
I'm doing great.
You're looking all handsome.
You too.
What do you call it? Yeah, Zagazund. But yeah, I think if you need an eruv, back then they mamash needed an eruv. I know what our eruv is. He still on, David? Yeah, sure. Did he leave? All right, we'll have to explain it. I know, just okay. Since we're discussing it, I know what our eruv. The pressure to have the eruv up before Shabbos is enormous.
Well,
it's enormous.
Because you don't want people to be Machal Shabbos. I don't understand
what
the question is.
That and
What do you mean? If the guy doesn't make an Eruv, that's the whole thing.
No, but a lot of
Doing
people
these-
make simchas. No, a lot of people make simchas, right? And if you don't have that Eruv up, then what are you gonna do? You're stuck, right? You're stuck. So here too,
Right, so it's a big deal. It's not like, why are we making such a big deal? Why don't we just leave it alone? We can't because there'll be Machal Shabbos then.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Is there a 10-10 Meyer by Sulitz? Anybody know? No? I know they had it. I don't know if okay, Parrot, you got a haircut finally.
You like that, huh?
Maybe that's where the hernia came from.
That's what I was thinking. I told the guy at the barber the last haircut I got, Bayla gave me, and ran off the middle because she had to go shopping right before the Zman. That was the Shiloh I asked you. Once you start a haircut, are you allowed to continue it?
Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night, Naftali. Yeah. I hear you.
That's not a haircut. That's a
What is it?
lawnmower.
He's joining the army. He's joining the army.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Hello? Is there Kiddush Levana still tonight or no?
No, you're done. If you want to do it,
Done?
Early for next year.
This is the first time I've seen the moon in the whole month.
No, yesterday or no.
Yeah, so Aaron, so this is what you do.
Yeah, so
Aaron,
this is what you do.
Yeah. There is episode Shita. I think it just passed it, but you still there? All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
You can open it. I don't know if you have access to a Tur Shulchan Aruch. If you have access to a Tur Shulchan Aruch, okay, you open it up in Hilchas Kiddush HaChodesh at the end of what siman is it? Hold on. Anyways, in the Tur, it brings down Kiddush Levana with Hashem's name and everything. So what you do is you go outside with the Tur, and you read the Tur outside with Hashem's name, and then you could do it. But I don't know.
Why is everybody making such a big deal of this Kiddush Levana?
Is that why the Tur? Is that why the Tur did that?
Oh, I don't know if that's why the Tur did it.
I think people are making a big deal because of the election.
No. Why this Kiddush Levana that everybody's talking about it?
Because the weather was. I don't remember it raining this much for so long in a long time over here. The weather was a disaster.
Can we just say Masha Baruch and Murder Geshem? I'm saying, like, what's
you know why it was the Tefillas Geshem that was in your mother's backyard?
Like, what's the problem?
That did it.
What? What did you say?
Tefillas Geshem that you did in your mother's backyard that did it.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
The
Maybe.
kavanas that we had.
Oh, Parrots, one of the tents flipped over too. Flying all over the place. Yeah.
You know, I told the kids that they came with weights to put on the legs. You just got to fill it with sand. But, you know, the kids are too lazy.
Now here. All right.
Okay, I need one Hatzalah guy for a skit. Anybody can be in touch with me.
For a skit?
I wish I knew a guy that could be in a skit.
Landau's available. Landau's available.
How about you? It's gonna be really easy.
I don't think I want to put myself through that. I don't know. It doesn't sound enticing.
It's a lot of fun.
All right, I'm gonna go try and find myself
A lot of fun
somewhere.
for whom?
All righty. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye.
Bye bye.